Female genital circumcision in Cameroon. A first-hand account like never recounted. Before we delve into the intricate practice of female genital mutilation in Cameroon, we would like to invite you to subscribe to our channel, like and share the video with others. In the way of introduction, female genital circumcision, abbreviated FGC, also known as female genital mutilation, or FGM, is a practice that involves the partial or total removal of the external female genitalia. While the practice is not widespread across Cameroon, it is still prevalent in certain regions and communities, where it holds significant cultural and traditional meaning. The practice is closely tied to beliefs about womanhood, marriageability, and social cohesion. However, the procedure has been globally condemned for its severe physical, psychological, and reproductive health consequences. In Cameroon, efforts have been made to legislate against the practice, though challenges remain. Let's begin by examining the cultural background and origins of female genital circumcision in Cameroon. The practice of female genital circumcision in Cameroon is deeply rooted in the cultural and traditional systems of certain ethnic groups, particularly in the far north, southwest, and central regions. The tribes most associated with FGC in Cameroon include the Kurdi, the Matakam, and certain groups in the Fali and Mata regions. FGC is also present in some parts of the eastern region of Cameroon. Historically, FGC is believed to have originated as part of initiation rites aimed at controlling women's sexuality and ensuring that they conform to the social roles expected of them. Particularly within patriarchal structures, it is also linked to notions of purity and cleanliness, where the female genitalia, specifically the clitoris, are perceived as a source of impurity or a symbol of uncontrolled sexual desire. Cutting or altering it is believed to cleanse the girl or woman. The origin of FGC in Cameroon, as in other parts of Africa, is difficult to pinpoint as the practice has existed for centuries. It has been practiced long before colonialism, with some anthropologists tracing its roots to ancient African societies as a rite of passage from childhood to adulthood. Though not a universal practice in Cameroon, it is nonetheless deeply ingrained in the customs of certain ethnic groups that continue to perform it as part of their traditions. Let's discuss the local beliefs and justifications for FGC. According to Shianga Mutola, ETL, 2021, female genital mutilation is one of the most prevalent harmful cultural practices against women and girls in many African countries. The reasons revolve around the belief that FGM is useful for the reduction of sexual immorality among women, removal of sexual ambiguity, and improving genital aesthetics. In Cameroon, as in other societies that practice FGC, the tradition is upheld by a set of deeply entrenched beliefs. These beliefs vary across regions, but generally fall into the following categories. 1. Rite of passage. Among certain ethnic groups, FGC is considered a necessary step for girls to transition into womanhood. It is a part of traditional initiation ceremonies, often carried out before marriage or upon reaching puberty. The procedure symbolizes readiness for adulthood and marriage. 2. Marriageability. In some communities, uncircumcised girls are considered impure or undesirable for marriage. The procedure is seen as ensuring that a girl becomes an honorable and marriageable woman. Failure to undergo the practice can lead to social exclusion, stigmatization, or difficulty in finding a husband. 3. Control of female sexuality. Another common belief is that FGC controls female sexuality by reducing sexual desire. By removing parts of the genitalia, it is believed that women will remain faithful and less prone to promiscuity. It is seen as a way to safeguard family honor and prevent shame associated with extramarital sexual activities. For cultural identity, FGC is also seen as a way to preserve cultural identity. Among practicing communities, the procedure is seen as an essential marker of belonging and adherence to traditional values. Women who have undergone FGC are seen as conforming to the cultural norms of their group. 5. Religious justifications. Though FGC is not explicitly mandated by religious texts, some communities in Cameroon associate the practice with religious beliefs, including interpretations of Islam or ancestral spiritual practices. It is mistakenly believed that FGC is a religious obligation, though this is not the case in mainstream religious teachings. Now let's dig into the practice of FGC in Cameroon. The forms of FGC practiced in Cameroon include varying degrees of severity. Categorized by the World Health Organization, who into 4 types. Type 1, or clitoridectomy. This is the partial or total removal of the clitoris and/or the prepuce, which is the fold of skin surrounding the clitoris. Type 2, or excision. It is the partial or total removal of the clitoris and the labia minora, with or without excision of the labia majora. Type 3, or infibulation. It is the narrowing of the vaginal opening by creating a seal, formed by cutting and repositioning the labia minora or labia majora, sometimes stitching the area to heal together. Type 4, All other harmful procedures to the female genitalia for non-medical reasons, such as pricking, piercing, or scraping. In Cameroon, the most common types practiced are type 1 clitoridectomy and type 2 excision. The procedure is typically performed by traditional practitioners or elderly women, often without anesthesia and in unsanitary conditions, leading to immediate health risks such as severe pain, bleeding, infection, and even death. Long-term consequences include chronic pain, complications in childbirth, sexual dysfunction, and psychological trauma. The age at which girls undergo FGC varies, but is typically performed between infancy and adolescence, often before the girl reaches puberty. If you love the account, please subscribe to the channel to encourage this line of publications. Like and share with friends. We now look at the legislation against FGC in Cameroon. The international community, through organizations like the United Nations, UN and WHO, has denounced FGC as a violation of human rights, particularly the rights of women and girls. In Cameroon, efforts to combat FGC have grown, with both government action and advocacy from civil society organizations. 1. National legislation. Cameroon has ratified several international treaties that condemn FGC, including the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination against Women (CEDAW) and the African Union's Maputo Protocol. Domestically, Cameroonian law criminalizes practices that harm individuals, including harmful traditional practices. While there is no specific law solely dedicated to FGC, it can be prosecuted under the Penal Code under articles that address physical harm and assault. 2. Penalties. Under Cameroonian law, individuals involved in performing FGC can face imprisonment and fines, though enforcement is inconsistent. The lack of specific legal provisions targeting FGC as a standalone crime often complicates the legal process. 3. Advocacy and public awareness. Various non-governmental organizations, NGOs and women's rights groups in Cameroon are actively working to raise awareness about the dangers of FGC and to support victims. These organizations, including RENATA, which is a French acronym for Réseau National des Associations des Tantines and others, educate communities on the health risks of FGC and advocate for stronger legislation. They also provide services such as counseling, healthcare, and legal assistance to survivors of the practice. 4. Government initiatives. The Cameroonian government has made some efforts to curb FGC through public health campaigns, community outreach, and partnerships with international bodies like UNICEF. These initiatives focus on sensitizing communities, providing alternative rites of passage, and empowering women to speak out against harmful practices. Also, non-legal approaches involving community development and women empowerment have been proposed for fighting FGC. What are the challenges and the way forward? Despite the progress made, the fight against FGC in Cameroon faces numerous challenges which we shall now examine. Cultural resistance. In many communities, FGC is seen as a cultural imperative, and efforts to stop it are viewed as attempts to undermine tradition. Changing deep-rooted cultural norms is a slow and challenging process. Limited enforcement. Although FGC can be prosecuted under general legal provisions, the absence of a specific anti-FGC law makes it difficult to effectively punish those responsible. Furthermore, there is often reluctance on the part of local authorities to enforce the laws due to community pressure. Health risks and reproductive harm. While much of the legislation focuses on punishment, there is also a need for greater emphasis on the rehabilitation of survivors. Women and girls who have undergone FGC often need long-term medical and psychological care, which is not widely available in many regions of Cameroon. Community engagement. Sustainable change will require engaging local communities in a dialogue that respects their cultural values while promoting the health and rights of women and girls. Initiatives that offer alternative rites of passage and community-based education have shown some promise in shifting attitudes. To conclude, the WHO estimated in 2018 that more than 3 million girls are estimated to be at risk for FGC annually, while more than 200 million girls and women alive today have been subjected to the practice. Female genital circumcision, abbreviated FGC, also known as female genital mutilation, or FGM, is a practice that involves the partial or total removal of the external female genitalia. Female genital circumcision remains a significant issue in Cameroon, though its prevalence is declining due to growing awareness of the health risks and human rights violations associated with the practice. However, cultural beliefs and social pressures continue to uphold FGC in certain communities. The Cameroonian government, along with NGOs and international organizations, must continue to work towards stronger legislation, better enforcement, and community-based strategies that respect cultural identities while promoting the well-being and rights of women and girls. Please do not forget to subscribe to my channel, like and share the video.